If you want to impress your girlfriend, try this. I brought my leg in. Seems painful.
Australian or British?
He's something. He's not. He's not American.
I think he's adventurous.
Is this what white people do?
Every day.
Snoopervision. The future is crazy.
How's it going, everybody? Yours here with another episode of Pokévals, which is a series where I will be taking Pokemon that are underrated, fan favorites, or your personal selection, and just grading them in different characteristics such as typing, ability, stats, and move pool. And I will be also providing some friends and foes for the Pokemon, as well as some movesets, and just kind of talking about how they're doing in the current Sun and Moon metagame. Now, the Pokemon I'm discussing this week is Drampa, who's currently in the RU tier, and RU is in its beta stage. So a lot of things are subject to change. The Pokemon metagame is always evolving and changing. A lot of Pokemon were just recently shifted up to UU or pushed from UU down to RU. So there's a lot going on right now. It's kind of chaotic. So who knows what will happen to Drampa. Maybe we'll just be stuck there for all eternity. But we'll take a look at that. So Drampa is one of my favorite Pokemon from Generation 7, if not my favorite. I just absolutely love this thing. It's Snoop Dogg. If Snoop Dogg were a Pokemon, it would be Drampa. Like, take a look at it. So it's super chill. It's got like the dreads going on, got the hairdo, and it's got some red eyes because you know what he's been up to. You know what Drampa's been doing. So it's just absolutely fantastic. I just love everything around it. And this actually came as a request from one of my friends named Shwai, who loves Drampa as much, if not more than I do. So, you know, thank you, Shwai, for the request. I'm more than happy to talk about Drampa, and just, I feel like I learned a lot about this Pokemon, actually. And I'm happy to relay the information to you guys and, you know, just tell you how it's doing as of right now. So for its typing, Drampa is a normal dragon type, which is the first of its kind, actually. This is kind of like in that theme where you slap normal onto just like another type. I think of Pokemon such as like Pyroar with the normal fire typing, or Girafarig with the normal psychic typing. Normal doesn't really do Drampa too many favors. It just kind of provides another weakness, and gives you an immunity. But that's pretty much it. And it does go about hitting the fairy types that could resist, you know, are immune to your dragon moves, which is kind of nice too. But we'll see some more kind of like issues that come up with it as we get into this. So with your weaknesses, you are weak to fighting, dragon, ice, and fairy. Fighting as a result of your normal typing, that's the weakness that was added, and dragon, ice, and fairy as a result of your dragon typing. We know how good fairies are. Fairies are amazing, especially in Gen 7. Dragon could have been up for debate to be one of the best typing, if not the best, in like Generation 5 and like, you know, past that. But when Generation 6 came around with the fairy types, you know, dragons are kind of struggling a bit, but they're still amazing. Drampa having the dragon type is just kind of fantastic for it. It really helps it out. But you do need to be aware of, you know, faster dragon, ice, or fairy types. Just be careful of those. As for types that you're resisting, we have fire, electric, grass, and water. This just comes with, you know, being a dragon type. These are amazing types to be able to resist. Fire, electric are very, very strong offensive typings. Water too. Water is, you know, typically seen on kind of like some defensive Pokemon as well. So you're able to take kind of like a weaker Scald or stuff like that. Scald with like 130% chance to burn. It's ridiculous. And grass too for the defensive types as well. Drampa could actually have grass as an immunity depending on your ability. It does have access to Sap Sipper. It's just personal preference which ability you want to pick on there. But yeah, being able to resist, you know, those typings with, you know, the likes of stuff like Moltres, Heliolisk, Jolteon, Galvantula is down there as well. What else is down there in that tier? You have Delmise, Bruxish, you know, Blastoise, Clawitzer, stuff like that down in the RU tier that, you know, you're going to be able to take the hits from, which is very nice. And Drampa actually will be able to take the hits, as we'll get to at some point. You know, of course, you have to watch out for their other coverage moves, but you could definitely take some hits. As for types you're hitting super effectively, you are hit by Dragon. So that's, you know, that's always been a thing about Dragon. It's been able to hit itself super effectively, much like Ghost is able to. And kind of like Ghost in the way that with the territory not being able to hit much super effectively, you're able to hit so much neutrally. Dragon is just very, very strong in that aspect. You're able to come in, you know, take one of the very potent elemental moves and then just hit back with a very strong like Draco Meteor or something, or Hyper Voice, because you have stab with that with your normal typing. So it's not really a problem that you're only able to hit one type super effectively, because you're able to hit so much neutrally. As for the types that resist you, that should be 1/2 instead. Steel is able to resist both your normal and your dragon type stab, which is, a problem, but Drampa can get around that with some coverage moves that it has. It does have access to fire moves, so that's not really that much of a problem anymore, which is really nice, actually. I also forgot to put this, but the types that are immune to you with, your dragon moves are your fairy types. So be careful of that, but you do have normal with the hyper voice to kind of get around that, which is one of the pluses to having the normal type added on, is that you're able to hit it with, stab something else. And as for the types that you are immune to ghost because of the normal type that has been gifted onto Drampa. So, always having immunity is very nice. It stops people from spamming Shadow Ball or the sorts. So for the grade for Drampa's typing, I decided to give it a B. Dragon is just so strong as a typing that it's going to naturally be higher. And while normal type doesn't do it that many favors, it adds a weakness with fighting, and you're still really not getting past steel with your both of your stabs. Its coverage and stuff is able to make up for that, and having immunity to the ghost is always nice. So while it's not extraordinary and it doesn't complement Drampa that much, it doesn't really hurt it that much either, so I feel like a solid B really fits for its typing. Moving on to abilities, Drampa has 3 abilities. Its first one, Berserk, is a new ability for Generation 7 and is really cool. Your special attack is raised by 1 stage when you are at 1/2 HP or less. And this is of your maximum HP, by the way. So, if you're at like 88 when you switch in and then drop to like 44 or stuff like that, that's not how it works. It's 50%, this is a really cool ability. And, so pretty much you just get your choice specs added on when you drop down half, and you have the freedom to potentially, change up your moves depending on your set. So it's really cool. And, if you do have a choice specs attached, your special attack stat is just doubled after you get that boost, which is really nice. It's really hard, especially as we'll see, because Drampa's stats are kind of, its special attack is just mind-blowingly high, so it's really nice, and just things are going to get destroyed. And you're also able to kind of work with Berserk a bit just because of Drampa's bulk and kind of its support moveset, to be able to recover up. Let's say that you drop down to about 40% and you recover up past 40% and then drop down again, you will get another boost. This is how this ability works. It's not just like, oh, you drop below 50% once, you got back up and you drop again, you only get 1 boost. No, you can get multiple boosts, which is extremely nice and just really cool. I really like this ability. As for your next ability, you have Sap Sipper, which is your attack is raised by 1 stage if you're hit by a grass move, and you do have a grass immunity. Sap Sipper's been like it's not really very common, but it's just kind of cool to have in the back, I'm immune to your grass type moves. But because grass type isn't extremely common, it's never really been kind of like a must-have ability or anything like that. It's just kind of nice to have, and you could definitely make it work with something like a rain team, especially if your team is very weak to grass types. So, it is another option for Drampa to have. I just personally prefer Berserk. I think Berserk is better in a lot more situations. Your last ability is Cloud 9, which is effects of weather are disabled. So you definitely would not want to use this with a rain team just straight up. You're just kind of hindering yourself there. But you are able to kind of shut down your opponent's weather teams if you really need to. Down in the RU tier, I'm not really sure how much you're going to see weather and stuff like that. Rain is more common in, OU or stuff like that, or maybe up in Ubers with like Primal Groudon, Primal Kyogre. Actually, I think that you could potentially, if you go full defense, you might be able to take Precipice Blades from Groudon, bring Surf on this thing. This is to counter the Groudon. Yeah, actually, wait, hold up. Let me go do a calc, I'll be right back. Alright, and I'm back. So I found out that if you put, max HP and a tiny bit of bulk into your defense from the offensive Self-Rock set of Groudon, you are able to take a Precipice Blaze, and with your Cloud 9, you are able to kill with Surf guaranteed. Drampa the Primal Groudon counter? Question mark or check? It's up for debate, but yeah, in all seriousness, though, Cloud 9 I don't see it having that much of a use. I would rather use Berserk or Sap Sipper. I think these 2 abilities are way better than Cloud 9. But if you really want to shut down weather, you're really scared of it, there it is. For its grade, I decided to give Drampa a B+. I was kind of debating about giving it a B because Sap Sipper isn't amazing, but it is a good ability. I just think Berserk is so cool, and it can, if it's in the right hands and it's at the right time, it can do a lot of work. I can't talk enough about how cool of an ability this is. So yeah, I think it just deserves a B+. Moving on to its stats, Drampa has kind of a weird stat distribution. You can already tell there's one down there that is like, oh my, that is ridiculously high with its special attack. For its HP, we have 78, just middle of the park. Its it's around 80, which area of HP stats for a lot of the Pokemon I've been discussing lately. Can't stop saying, it's just mediocre, it's decent, middle of the road, but if it's with good defensive investment, it can really work. Which in this case it really does actually, especially with the Dragon typing. Dragon type really helps it be a good defensive Pokemon. As for its attack, we have 60. This is pretty much unusable. Not to sound harsh or anything like that, but Drampa's physical move pool also just pales in comparison greatly to its physical and to its special move pool. It gets stuff like, Dragon Tail, which is the one physical move I would actually recommend if you were running kind of like a phasing physically defensive Drampa or stuff like that. And it does get Earthquake, but it also has stuff like Focus Blast and Thunderbolt and stuff for the special move pool that is just way better. And just take a look at the stats. I mean, 135 special attack. You're definitely going to want to abuse that a bit more than the physical one, unless you want to run like Choice Banded Drampa or stuff like that. But you know what? Okay, if you want to do that, go ahead. But moving on to its defense, we have 85 defense, which actually works pretty well with the 78 HP. You can put investment into this and make it work. You will be able to take hits, especially with the Dragon typing being able to resist so many, elemental typings. It's just really good, actually. There will be a set that I will show later on that makes use of this, and is actually pretty strong. I was testing it out and really getting results. So next is the special attack, the 135 base special attack. This is absolutely huge, just super, super good. Just spamming Draco or Hyper Voice from this is going to do a lot of damage, especially if you get the Berserk boost or have choice specs or both of them. Pokemon are just going to be falling. They're going to be taking damage. And for those Steel types that do want to switch in, you will have Flamethrower to back it up or Fire Blast, which is incredibly good. Drampa's move pool just really, really complements this special attack stat. I cannot talk about how great that is. Moving on to special defense. We have 91, which is even better than its defense. This is the second best stat, and it works really well with the HP stat. You can, it's pretty solid natural bulk. You could put some investment into it if you want. You can run Assault Vest to just kind of work with that and put it, into HP and special attack. Just be able to take hits better. Because of how good Drampa's move pool is, you can run for attacking moves with Assault Vest. Yeah, these defenses and special attack really do check out to be pretty good. Defense could be a bit higher, special defense could be a bit higher, but really I can't complain too much. It's pretty solid. Although we move on to the speed stat, keeping up with the theme of Alolan Pokemon, their speeds are pretty bad. 36 base speed, which... So my philosophy for Pokemon has always kind of been that speed is super, super important stat, if not the most important stat. You can be a really, really kind of like defensive fast Pokemon, it can work pretty well. You could be a defensive slow Pokemon, and that'll work. You could be a fast, hard-hitting Pokemon, that'll work. But being kind of a faster, being a slower, hard-hitting Pokemon is a lot more difficult. I think of stuff kind of like Camerupt and stuff like that. And they have some natural bulk, but not enough natural bulk to be able to take on some of those moves, and just 36 speed is kind of dismal, honestly. It's just kind of a problem. Less so for Drampa than other Pokemon, I would say, but it definitely doesn't do it any favors. I don't really know how much having 45 or 50 speed would really help this Pokemon out in comparison to the 36. So, and if it meant taking away from the bulk to add to that speed stat to make it a bit higher, I definitely would not want that. So I think Drampa actually checks out a lot better than a lot of other Pokemon in that department. With decent natural bulk backing it up and a very strong special attack. So it passes a bit better than it would with other Pokemon. For your base stat total, you have 485, which is, it's kind of average, a little lower than average. Your starters are around 530. I believe Toucannon also fell kind of around this mark as well. So it's just kind of, center field and stuff like that. For the grade, I decided to give it a B. Base stat total is, kind of like lower in comparison to other Pokemon. The speed stat is kind of a problem. And, a bit more HP or a bit more bulk would have been nice, but 135 special attack is just monstrous. And it does have pretty good, decent natural bulk enough as it is. It's just me kind of, wanting a bit more, even if it was at the cost of a bit of speed. So I think a B is pretty fair for that. Nothing extraordinary, but definitely nothing bad at all. Moving on to its move pool, this is where, the power of Drampa really lies. This is where Drampa is just like the beast, the Snoop Dragon really comes out. So taking a look at its offensive move pool, we have Dragon Pulse, Draco Meteor, Hyper Voice, Energy Ball, Grass Knot, Fire Blast, Flamethrower, Ice Beam, Focus Blast, Hurricane, Thunderbolt, and Surf. Felt like I was about to do the Pokemon rap there or something at a second. These moves, again, are the moves that I would recommend typically, or I feel like have the highest chance to be usable on a Pokemon. There are a couple I missed. There's like Shadow Ball and Extra Sensory, but I felt these moves just got the job done better, or there weren't really any Pokemon that Shadow Ball or Extra Sensory hit better. Dragon Pulse and Draco Meteor are your two forms of like Dragon Stab, and Hyper Force is your like main normal stab. I would typically run Draco Meteor unless you're running kind of like a bulkier set or something. Then I would run Dragon Pulse, but you really want to spam Draco Meteor when you have that high of a special attack stat. It's just super powerful. Hyper Voice is good to get past the fairy types that you want to be able to hit with your dragon typing. Energy Ball and Grass Knot are just kind of good for bulkier ground or water type stuff like that. I think of like Quagsire, Swampert, stuff like that, Gastrodon, all those quad weak Pokemon, just for bulkier grounds. Fire Blast and Flamethrower are amazing. I would probably say this is what you want to have in your third move slot or second move slot for hitting those steel types that are just so bothersome. Bronzong, Registeel, Doublade, stuff like that down in the RU tier. Looking up towards OU, you have stuff like Magearna, Mawile, which just came out. The monster Mawile is finally back, dear God. Scizor as well. Scizor is just, hitting that with Flamethrower is always amazing. Then you have Ice Beam and Focus Blast. Focus Blast is nice for hitting Pokemon like Heatran, which kind of are walled by like, normal, Dragon, and even your fire moves that you have, so it's nice to have that in the back. Otherwise, I would typically run Flamethrower over Focus Blast, but it's nice for hitting Heatran if you're taking it to OU. Ice Beam, if you really want to blow back stuff like Landorus, especially because, you're going to be able to hit Garchomp incredibly well with your Dragon-type coverage as well. And then these next moves, Hurricane, Thunderbolt, and Surf. These are kind of moves, Thunder instead of Thunderbolt, rather. Thunderbolt is just nice for hitting stuff like Pelipper and Mantine and other flying types. But Hurricane, Surf, and Thunder are moves that I would recommend on a rain set for Drampa. It can really actually abuse the rain pretty well with these moves. 100% accurate Hurricane and Thunder is really nothing to laugh at. And the damage boosted Surf, really, really good coverage. It kind of makes me think of stuff like Special D-Knight or stuff like that you saw in like Generation 5 on rain teams. But it's really cool, actually. I like this a lot. I didn't get a chance to run a rain team, but let me know if you guys do. I really want to see how it would do in comparison to maybe something like that Special D-Knight set. As for your support moves, you have Roost, Rest, Sleep Talk, Roar, Substitute, Glare, and Toxic. Sleep Talk with Rest could actually be kind of cool with a Calm Mindset, as you can see over there in the setup section. I could see that be really cool. You just have to worry about, only running potentially one move, and which move is it going to be? Hyper Voice, where you're still walled by Rock and Steel types. Dragon Pulse, where you're still walled by Steel and Fairy types. So you got to be kind of selective. You could potentially run just like Rest, Calm Mind, Draco, like Dragon Pulse and Flamethrower, but then you can't really abuse the sleep as well. So I think Roost is just kind of reliable in that way. They get your recovery, but also to still be able to get all your moves in that you need to hit various types. As for the other support moves, we have Roar and Substitute. Roar is just very nice for phasing. You can run Dragon Tail also to get kind of with the same results. You just have to be more careful of stuff like Rocky Helmet or Fairy types that you won't be able to phase out. Substitute is, if you really want to run that with a bulky set. And then Glare and Toxic are also just ways to put on status. I put Glare over Thunder Wave because, having 100% accuracy is a lot better. And just being able to hit like stuff like ground types with it. And yeah, Toxic, just to wear down some other Pokemon. Out of the support moves, I guess I would recommend Roost the most. I just think it's great for bulkier sets. As for setup, we have Calm Mind. It does have access to workup. It's just you don't really want to boost your physical attack. You'd rather just boost your Spadef along with your special attack. So that's why I have Calm Mind here. Very reliable, actually, to be able to get both of those boosts up. Also, add some more onto the 91 base Spadef and just get some more bulk in there. As for Z moves, we have Devastating Drake. Very, very strong, just being able to throw out an extremely strong dragon move, but not get the special defense drop. The special attack drop that Draco Meteor gives, and then you can throw out a Draco immediately after, is just really, really good. Very, very strong. Next, we have Breakneck Blitz, which is just to give you a very strong normal Z move. I think this is outclassed by Devastating Drake, but it's still there if you want to use it. Inferno Overdrive is actually a pretty solid option because it does allow you to hit stuff like Registeel and Bronzong a bit harder and then hit it with a Fire Blast afterward and secure the kill. I believe specially defensive Registeel is able to eat 2 Fire Blasts and really wear down your Drampa, but Inferno Overdrive plus Fire Blast will be able to knock it out. The same thing with Bronzong. Doublade, on the other hand, will drop the 2 Flamethrowers or, just Fire Blast naturally, so you don't really have to run Inferno Overdrive, but if you want to get the guaranteed kill in one hit, you can run Inferno Overdrive just to knock it out. And then we have Gigavolt Havoc, which is kind of just like a very, very strong electric type move. I believe the main Pokemon that try and like hit this were like secure kill like 100% on like Blastoise, Klotzer, I think what were some other Pokemon that I was thinking about? Feraligatr, just stuff like that. Jellicent, I'm not sure if it was a guaranteed kill on Jellicent, but it does do a lot of damage. I think this is a weaker option in comparison to Devastating Drake and Inferno Overdrive, but it is there. I keep saying that, it is there to hit Pokemon. It's just an option, to have in the back. If your team is extremely weak to a bulkier water type, you can bring that. But I do think Devastating Drake will get the job done as well as Gigavolt Havoc. It's just incredibly strong to be able to do that and then drop the Draco immediately afterwards. For the move pool, I decided to give it an A. This is just extremely good coverage with the offensive capabilities that it has, and the support isn't bad either with access to Roost, reliable recovery and glare, a setup move of Calm Mind, and very, very strong Dragon Z move. Like this is, it really has everything that you would want. I guess the only thing that I would say that I want more on Drampa is something like Boom Burst, because Boom Burst would just be like monstrous, absolutely disgusting to just hit everything. Think about that Boom Burst of Draco Meteor. That's just, what is surviving that? Especially with Berserk and Choice Specs, it's just disgusting. So really, I don't have any complaints about his move pool except for maybe the lack of Boom Burst, but yeah, so I think an A is very, very strong for Drampa and just shows how good his move pool is. Now with the Friends and Foes section, I actually decided to divide this up into RU and OU. I did not take a look at UU as much with this, mainly just because I feel like OU is kind of just the standard tier, and a lot of Pokemon go to there, and that way you can just kind of like take a look and see how it does in comparison to, the cream of the crop Pokemon. And, you could bring Drampa the OU as well. I think it's doable. Maybe there are better options to take the OU, but tiers are based off of, usage, and, Drampa's usage and OU is not very high, but, you can do it. Pokemon in lower tiers, just because they're down there doesn't mean that they can't be used. I think of something like Tangrowth that was in RU for a long time in ORAS, and then eventually moved up to OU because people were using it so much. It's a good Pokemon, it's just usage was extremely low. So for the RU side of things, a good friend is Florges. Florges is just incredibly bulky. Like, I think it's 154 special defense. People usually run like Fizz Def. It has Wish and Aromatherapy support, just to heal Drampa back up, especially if it gets weakened down. And if there's, a fairy type, you can switch out in the Florges, just take the hit from that. And if there's stuff like a fighting type or a dragon type, you can switch in the Florges and be able to take the hit from that. It's just really complements it really well. Very nice bulky Pokemon, able to take care of the things that scare Drampa, as well as being able to bring it back to full health. Next is Doublade. Doublade serves as a Pokemon that can switch into the Dragon type moves coming at Drampa, the Fighting type moves coming at Drampa, and the Ice and Fairy moves coming at Drampa. It's really good, being able to cover pretty much all of its weaknesses. And, just having that Steel type is also, like, Pokemon such as, like, going for a Ghost move on your Doublade, you can switch in the Drampa and be able to take it, so they complement each other really well in that. And Doublade does have a lot of bulk on the physical side with the Eviolite. It's actually crazy. And it can just take care of key threats that are standing in its way. This last Pokemon for the RU in the Friends section is Tornadus, because it has Prankster with Rain Dance. And this was kind of just for, abusing the rain set with the Thunder and the Surf. I just thought it would be kind of cool to test out. Tornadus offers a ground immunity for Drampa, so you know you can like get away from earthquake spam, stuff like that. You do have to watch out for ice type moves because you're both weak to ice. But it also offers a fighting resist for Drampa, which is nice to kind of switch into. Get up the rain, fire a hurricane off, all that good stuff. Moving on to the foes, though, in the RU tier, we have Lucario. Lucario is just a monster. This thing is really, really strong. I'm actually kind of surprised it's still down in RU. Close combat, Iron Tail, a lot of priority set up on both sides. It's really, really good. And, you know, it's one of the best revenge killers. And, you know, if it scares you out, it could go for Swords Dance and queen your team and stuff like that. So just be careful of that if you're not going to Pokemon Drampa. And then Lucario comes in. You just got to kind of play it smart. It might be a 50-50 situation in which they Swords Dance or which they just go for close combat. You are not able to take close combat with Drampa, even with the bulkier set, so just be careful of that. Next, we have Snorlax. Snorlax is just incredibly bulky as a Pokemon, especially with the Curse set, which is the one that I mainly had in mind when I was looking at this. Choice Specs, Draco, and Hyper Voice aren't able to get the job done because it'll take the Draco, and then after you get the drop, it'll be able to take another Draco. As for Hyper Voice, I believe it's a 3-hit KO or a 4-hit KO. It's not even a 2-hit KO. It could set up on you and be able to kill you in a way that will, you know, bypass you getting the Berserk boost. So just be careful running around Snorlax so it does a boost and set up on you. Next is Tyrantrum, because I believe Tyrantrum is one of the best revenge killers and one of the best Scarfers in RU right now. Just like Rockhead, Head Smash, and Choice Scarf Outrage is just incredibly strong. There's very, very few switch-ins. And if there's a Steel type, you know, it does have Earthquake for coverage. Tyrantrum is just a monster, and I found myself having very, very few switch-ins to this Pokemon because I was afraid to even bring in my Steel types. You know, because if they took any prior damage and stuff like that, then, you know, Earthquake was going to do a lot of damage to them. So definitely be careful of Tyrantrum. Moving on to friends in the OU section, we have Tapu Fini. I was about to say Tapu Lele. Tapu Fini, Water Fairy, very nice for being able to. Drampa could take the Electric type moves targeted at your Tapu Lele, and then as for Fighting type moves and Ice type moves, your Drampa, Tapu Lele could take those, and the Dragon type moves as well. Able to fire off Moonblast, able to defog, taunt Pokemon so they can't set up on you. Very, very bulky. They work very well together, actually. Just, you have to be careful of stuff like, you know, poison moves and of that sort. Next is Greninja. Greninja is just Greninja. I can't say anything else about this Pokemon. I believe this Pokemon is going to be suspect tested next in OU, just with its unpredictability, whether it's Protean or Ash Greninja. It runs through teams. It's such a good Pokemon. Actually, Drampa is able to take Choice Specs Dark Pulse from Ash Greninja. When I was running some calcs, it was able to take it. Protean, though, Life Orb with the Ice Beam, that's where the problem comes, and you're going to drop to that. But Greninja's just able to take care of the Pokemon that kind of stand in its way, and it scares a lot of Pokemon out because, you know, if they're weak, it's like, oh gosh, we don't want to give it the Ash Greninja boost either. And you can U-turn out and do all that stuff. U-turn, bring in Drampa. Greninja is terrifying, and it works very well. Next is Celesteela, which works well with Drampa because it's able to take the Fighting type moves targeted, and it offers a ground immunity. Drampa is able to absorb the Electric and Fire type moves aimed at it. Celesteela is able to take the Dragon type moves, Ice type neutrally. Fighting is also neutrally, but I feel like on the physical side it just has so much bulk it isn't going to take it well anyways. Ice type might be a bit more troublesome, but yeah, they just complement each other very well in that aspect. A lot of these bulkier Pokemon are able to make use of Drampa just as kind of like, you know, a nice switch in for it that from a strong Pokemon that will wear it down. I think it really works well in that regard. I like that pairing a lot. When I was testing in the RU tier, I was using Florges a lot as a good partner for it. I tested Doublade a tiny bit. In the OU tier, I did Tapu Fini, and that worked very well. But I did most of my testing in RU, and Florges was just very, very strong working with Drampa. As for Pokemon you have to watch out for in OU, Tapu Lele. Tapu Lele is one of the strongest Pokemon in OU, just being able to fire off Psychic Surge, Psychics, and Moonblast is able to just straight up kill Drampa. So you have to be very, very careful with that. And, you know, it switches in on your Draco Meteor. It's going to be a bad time and outspeed you and Moonblast you. Next is Chansey. I personally despise Chansey. I'm sorry if Chansey is like one of your favorite Pokemon. It's always just been kind of a problem for me. It's just like it switches in, it takes your moves and stuff like that. And maybe that's just because of my experience with trying to play against all and all that. Well, Drampa is definitely not going to be doing anything against Chansey as well, even with the choice specs set. It's just going to eat up your Hyper Voice for days. And even if you're running a bulkier set and you keep getting Berserk Boost over and over again, it's still going to wear you down. It's still going to beat you, because even if it's status you and stuff like that, you're going to get worn down. And Drampa definitely is not a fan of that. This last Pokemon is Pheromosa. Pheromosa is incredibly fast, incredibly strong with the fighting type stab. High Jump Kick is going to clean knock you out. Same thing as Focus Blast. So you definitely have to be careful of that. Especially if they start to build momentum and they know you're going to switch out, they go for U-turn. Pheromosa definitely threatens out your Pokemon. These kind of faster fighting type Pokemon are definitely a problem for Drampa, so be careful of those. Okay, so before we move on to the items and conclusion section, I'm just going to show a replay I had showcasing this Drampa team with the choice specs actually and Florges kind of as a partner. So we'll be right back after that. Alright, so here I am with the replay section of the video where I will be covering the physical defensive Drampa set that I was running that had Hyper Voice, Flamethrower, Roost, and Calm Mind, partnered with a bulky Florges, bulky Mantine for defogging, Choice Scarf Tyrantrum, which this Pokemon just runs for everything in the tier. It's kind of a monster straight up, and Lucario straight across from it, which is, in my opinion, the best Pokemon in RU as of now. It's just, I think it's too good. I think it should be UU. Probably will get suspected at some point. It's just absolutely devastating. And then the final team members that I have are Bugnium Z Venomoth for the Savage Spinout with the Bug Buzz. I also have Sludge Bomb, Sleep Powder, and Quiver Dance on the side. And then I have Jolly, Life Orb, Crawdaunt, just to get off the damage and all that stuff. My opponent over there has some very threatening Pokemon that are pretty common in RU right now. Lucario being, I would say, one of the most common Pokemon and one of the scariest Pokemon. Doublade, which isn't that much of a problem for this Drampa set because it is EV'd specifically to be able to take on such things as Doublade Sacred Sword. It will survive. It ensures that it is not 2-hit KO'd by it. And then Crawdaunt is absolutely terrifying over there. It's just like, it's another Pokemon I don't think should be RU. It's just like ridiculously powerful down here. And then Kyurem is pretty strong. My team actually does struggle with ice types, especially stuff like Glalie that have Freeze Dry. So it could be a bit of a problem. But this short replay is kind of to show how Lucario can come in on Drampa and force a lot of situations that could be a 50-50, like a Swords Dance or Nasty Plot setup. And you have to be careful whether your team is prepared for that or not. You kind of have to make a call on it. I definitely recommend having someone in the back that maybe taking on, maybe Slowbro for a physically attacking Lucario would be very nice. My team does not actually have that luxury. That is something that I would change. Mantine is my best answer to it, but I've seen people run Stone Edge on their Lucarios to take on Mantine now that it's down here. But let's take a look at the replay. So my opponent's going to start off with Frostlass, and I'm going to start off with Drampa. At this point, I figured I might as well just go for Flamethrower, break the sashes to go for the spikes. And I assume they would have went for Destiny Bond here on the second turn. So I go for Calm Mind just to kind of like throw it off. As I go for a second layer of spikes, so they got me there. And then they go for Taunt on my Calm Mind. And then I figured at this point, as I go for the Will-O-Wisp, that they were trying to go for Destiny Bond then. So I quick Hyper Voice to try and not kill it so I don't lose my Drampa early. And then I eventually, after, they just go for Willows, pretty much say screw it and just go for Flamethrower and kill us and go for a layer of spikes. Which is kind of problematic, but I do have Mantine in the back. Now they bring in their Lucario here. And what I decided to do was to stay in and go for Flamethrower, because if Lucario Swords Dance up, my team was going to get extremely weakened. I had very few things to deal with it. I had a couple checks like Choice Scarf Tyrantrum, Aqua Jet on my Crawdaunt, and Mantine could potentially take it on if it did not have Stone Edge or something of the sort. But other than that, my team really gets throttled by Lucario, so I decided to stay in and click Flamethrower. It was kind of just the call I wanted to make, thinking, if they do Swords Dance, I'm going to be in a problem, might as well just try and catch it. I was expecting maybe to lose my Drampa there, but they do go for the Swords Dance, and I catch them. Which my opponent actually asked there why I stayed in, which, and I said, if you Swords Dance, I lose. It's just recognition of a situation, which I think is something you need to kind of understand is what your opponent has. Like, does your opponent need that Pokemon first off? And then second off, is this the right time to Swords Dance up in the game? There would be, like, early game you can set up and get away with it, but sometimes it's better in the early game to kind of just throw out, hit what's in front of you or, make, not really, like, set up, especially for something like Lucario, which I think is better as a late game sweeper. But then Crawdaunt, if Lucario did weaken my team, if Crawdaunt Swords Dance or Dragon Dance up, it would be able to finish off the job and it would just finish my team. I really don't have many answers. Knockoff just destroys Mantine. Knockoff is going to destroy my own Crawdaunt. I can probably live with a tiny bit. Venomoth's going to get outsped. Tyrantrum's going to drop the Crab Hammer. Florges is still probably going to drop the Crab Hammer. So it's just kind of a scary time at that point. But I just think it's absolutely hilarious that I said that go for Swords Dance. They're going to win and, like, you know, they would have won the game if they got to Lucario and, you know, on my Switch. And then they proceed to go for Swords Dance and go with their Crawdaunt as I stay in and go for the Hyper Voice. Like, at that point, it was kind of just like a bit of a mind game or a bluff, but it was also just kind of like, you know, whatever, I'm just going to stay in. I quick Flamethrower last time, I'll quick in Hyper Voice. You aren't going to set up again. You know, they could have been banded, but Drampa is actually able to take knockoff from your standard, like, Adamant Life Orb Crawdaunt. Banded will probably finish the job, but I think it does about like 74% around there. I don't know the exact range, but Drampa is able to take Adamant knockoff with a Life Orb from Crawdaunt. So yeah, just, you know, showcasing how Lucario could be scary and how it can force you into a 50-50 situation. You have to make a judgment call if you don't have an answer. So this next battle I have here isn't actually a replay, but it's more or less the team preview for the match because my opponent ended up timing out a few turns in, which is a bit unfortunate. I turned off the timer hoping they would come back, but they didn't, and I didn't really want to sit here being all day. I wanted to get this recording up and going. But they have a lot of threatening Pokemon on their team that are commonly seen in the RU tier, just to kind of show how Drampa kind of stacks up against them. We have Necrozma right there, which just recently dropped in the RU. It can 1v1 Drampa with the Calm Mind Store powered set if, you know, they come out both as neutral. But if Drampa has boost prior to that on previous Pokemon, then it can definitely beat it in that kind of situation. Araquanid with Choice Band Liquidation is terrifying, just destroys Pokemon. But you can take it on because Liquidation from Choice Band variant only does about 44% max, and you can Calm Mind up on that and just Hyper Voice after you get enough boosts. Doublade can do some damage with its Secret Sword, but it only does a free hit KO because with the EV spread of 204 defense, 248 HP, bold nature, it ensures that after leftovers, it is a free and it is not 2-hit KO, which is very nice because you get the Berserk boost and then you can Flamethrower and knock it out, which is very nice. And you naturally outspeed Doublade by 1 point. Drampa has base 36 speed, Doublade has 35, so that is very nice. Honchkrow can be a bit of an issue because Supersonic Sky Strike just nukes Pokemon, but you can take it actually at full HP. I believe Supersonic Sky Strike does about 91% max to Drampa neutrally. If it does have a boost, then it'll be a bit of a problem. It's probably just going to straight up kill you, but if it doesn't have a boost, you will be able to take it on. As for Gligar, you are able to set up on that. It can Toxic you, sure, but Earthquake's not going to be doing that much considering offensive Donphan's Earthquake isn't even a 2-hit KO. And then finally, Salazzle is it's kind of just there, honestly. I don't really know. But Salazzle is kind of a scary Pokemon. It's good typing. I really like that typing of Fire Poison. Sludge Bomb would probably do a considerable amount, especially if it was something like Choice Specs or Life Orb, because there isn't any especially defensive investment in this Drampa. But you can probably kill it with Hyper Voice after you get a boost or maybe two after a Calm Mind. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to show how that goes. I can show the first couple turns actually, just kind of how it works. They send out their Gligar, I send out my Drampa, and at this point I just decided to start Calm Minding up. I didn't really see too much that could really stand in my way, honestly. Like, if they decided to go for Toxic at that point, I mainly just wanted to get enough damage off to kind of weaken Gligar to get it out of the picture. So that way Tyrantrum could kind of run through. The things that were stopping Tyrantrum on my opponent's team were Doublade, which I can take out easily with Mantine because it really can't do much to it. I also have Crawdaunt in the back to take care of it. And then once Gligar was out of the picture, Tyrantrum Head Smash just runs through my opponent's team, and I could bring it back up to health with Aromatherapy and Wish from my Florges. So that's a situation in which, you know, maybe getting a boost or two is fine to take on your opponent here. At this point, when they brought out their Araquanid, I decided I was probably going to go off maybe one more Calm Mind and try and throw off some Hyper Voices to get off the damage. But yeah, that's going to be it for the replay section, so back to the items and conclusion section. Alright, so we're back with the items and conclusion section. So for my recommended items, I have Choice Specs, Leftovers, Assault Vest, Citrus Berry, Life Orb, Dragonium Z, Fire Z, and Normalium Z. Choice Specs is just very, very strong to get off the damage with the Draco Meteor and Hyper Voice, just blow Pokemon back. It's great. Life Orb is gives you the power, but doesn't lock you into a single move, which is kind of nice for Drampa. Just be careful of being worn down by other Pokemon. Leftovers is fantastic for a bulkier set of Drampa, just to get recovery, especially working with rest. And then we have Dragonium Z, which is for, of course, the devastating Drake followed up by the Draco Meteor, very, very strong. Assault Vest is to give you kind of that extra bulk on the special side. I think this works best for something like a rain team, or if you really need something to kind of switch into, you know, electric, fire, and water type moves aimed at your teammates, especially coming from weaker Pokemon. You come in, don't take very much damage, and blow them back with Draco Meteor or Hyper Voice. Or Flamethrower too. Fire MZ is like what I discussed earlier with being able to hit the very strong steel types in RU and be securing an Oko or a 2-hit KO on them. Citrus Berry is just if you're not running Roost or something like that, but you still want to get the Berserk and maybe another Berserk boost and stuff like that, then you have that option there. And Normalium Z is just to be able to get off a very strong Breakneck Blitz. As for the sets down here, we have the Fire Emblem Z set with Fire Blast, Draco Meteor, Thunderbolt, and Hyper Voice. Thunderbolt is kind of like interchangeable for really whatever you want to throw on there. With 248 HP to secure, we have the most amount of Stealth Rock switch-ins. Modest with 252 special attack, and just the last 8 thrown into special defense there. Our next set is the Choice Specs, or AV set. You could really choose whichever one you want. And I put Sap Sipper on this just because, with a rain team, you probably will have kind of a weakness to water. To grass with all of your water types. So it's just nice to be able to have the immunity. And you have Thunder, Hurricane, Surf, and Draco Meteor. 2 moves to just kind of abuse the accuracy boost in the rain. Surf gives you the damage boost in the rain, and Draco Meteor is just very, very strong. Same EV spread as before. Next is the set that I find extremely cool for Drampa, is the bulkier set with Leftovers. And you have Dragon Pulse or Hyper Voice, dependent on what you want to do. I think Dragon Pulse is kind of, just better maybe for OU, in comparison to Hyper Voice, which is probably better for RU. And then Flamethrower, just to be able to hit the steel types that are going to get in your way. That's the thing with Hyper Voice and Dragon Pulse. Dragon Pulse, is to be able to hit a lot of stuff kind of like neutrally, like the rock types, or hit super effective dragon type, but Hyper Voice allows you to bypass the fairy types a bit better and get more, the stab boost instead of just neutral damage with Flamethrower. And then Calm Mind for boosting and Roost. Now I have 248 HP for the max amount of Stealth Rock switch-ins with a Bold Nature, with 204 defense and 56 in the special attack. This was just, the leftover special attack. Now, I have some calcs actually for the 204 and 204 defense investment here. So for the RU, we have Dewblade's Sacred Sword, does about 44.5 to 52.9%. Your Flamethrower, after getting a Berserk boost, is going to do 94 to 110.9%. So you're able to actually, after Leftovers, secure and make sure that on your standard, Dewblade set, Adamant, max attack, Sacred Sword will not be a 2-hit KO. It will be a 3-hit KO after your Leftovers, which is very nice. As for Donphan, your kind of like offensive spinner, Earthquake rather, for those who don't know, does 39.5 to 46.7%. So, you're able to just kind of take those really well and just roost up. And your Hyper Voice is doing 54.6 to 64.5% after the Berserk boost. For Alligator's Ice Punch does 61.5 to 72.4%, and Hyper Voice is doing 73 to 86.8% on after the Berserk boost. And then finally for RU, we have Virizian's Close Combat doing 70.7 to 84.1%. Your Flamethrower will be doing 65.6 to 77%. So pretty strong actually. Dewblade's pretty much the only Pokemon that has a high chance to secure the kill on, but it's able to, hit back really strong in these and make sure, they can't do anything in your face like setup or of the sorts, especially if they switch in on you. As for the OU tier, I took a look at Life Orb Chomp's Dragon Claw, did about 78.8 to 94.1%. It was unable to kill. After Rocks, it has a chance to kill, but your Dragon Pulse after the Berserk boost will be doing 118.9 to 140.7%, so guaranteed kill on Life Orb Garchomp. Mega Metagross's Ice Punch did about 54 to about 64%. Your Flamethrower was doing about 80.3 to 95%, so very, very good damage there, hitting back with that. Of course, you do have to, if they do not have Ice Punch, Meteor Mash was doing actually less. I believe it was about like 20, maybe 40% chance for Meteor Mash to 2-hit KO after Leftovers, so there is a chance there. And then as for Mega Scizor, the bulky variant at +2, BP was doing about 37.6 to 44.5%, and U-Term is doing 44.2 to 52%. So not even a 2-hit KO on either of those, and your Flamethrower is of course just going to guarantee get the kill on it, even without the Berserk boost. So this set is actually pretty solid. I really like this to be able to take hits and, being able to survive kind of like key moves such as Doublade, Sacred Sword, and being able to hit that back. And then, as for the final set, we have the choice specs with Hyper Voice, Draco Meteor, Fire Blast, and Focus Blast. This is for OU specifically with the Focus Blast to be able to hit Heatran, because Heatran would otherwise completely wall you out. Same EV spread as the other offensive ones. So, in conclusion, I think that Drampa is a very solid Pokemon. I think it actually deserves a bit more usage actually in RU, and could see some more in UU, as well as maybe a couple times in OU. I personally love this Pokemon. Trying to put my bias aside, I think that it does have some, it does have a purpose, especially with Berserk and access to solid bulk, recovery, setup, and an amazing move pool. And Z moves are really helping out Drampa to kind of like carve a niche in whatever tier you're using it in. So I think Drampa deserves a B overall. This is, it's not an amazing Pokemon by any means. It's not like the top of the top OU, but it's not a bad Pokemon by any means either. I think it does very, very well in RU, and I think it does have some use in some higher tiers. There are, of course, other Dragon types that outclass it, but it outclasses a lot of other Dragon types. I think that overall, Stab, Hyper Voice with the normal typing can be kind of beneficial to the Pokemon. Its normal type doesn't exactly help it incredibly well, but it could still make use of it for its best, especially paired with Flamethrower and stuff like that. So I think a B is a very, very solid grade for Drampa, and I was kind of struggling to maybe put it at like a B-, but I feel like it kind of deserves a B. It can make use of it. It is able to use all of the tools in its moveset very well. But yeah, that's going to be it for the episode on Drampa. So if you like this video, go ahead and just like leave a like or subscribe if you want. I'm always looking to kind of like expand this community and stuff like that. Leave a comment down below of what you thought, or if there's other Pokemon you want to see, or if there are things that you tested with Drampa that you want to share with me. I love talking with people just about like what they think of different Pokemon, or what Pokemon they want to see and stuff like that. So I'm always looking forward to that. But yeah, so I will see you guys next time. Peace out.